Dear GNU, the Government of National Unity, it's okay. You can fire him. You don't have to embarrass him first. You don't have to drag a man through the mud, parade him in court next to criminals, and then act like this is just normal process. If you've already decided he must go, just remove him. If you have someone else in mind for that position, your own preferred candidate, your safe pair of hands, just appoint them. But this thing we do in South Africa, the slow public dismantling of someone's authority, it's not clean and it's not honest. What we are watching right now, it doesn't feel like process, it feels like theater. And the person in the middle of it is Fannie Masemola. Now let me slow this down a bit. Because once you step away from the noise and actually look at what's being said, the story becomes very different. They are not saying he took money. They are not saying he personally rigged a tender. They are saying as an accounting officer, he failed to act after warnings were raised. That's it. That's the case as it stands publicly. Now, don't get me wrong, that's serious, but it's not the same as corruption. It's not the same as saying he was part of the scheme. But listen to how he's being presented out there. You would think he was at the center of everything. And that's where I start having a problem. Because the moment you take someone in that position and you place them in the same legal process as MATLALA, you're doing more than just following procedure. You are sending a message. You are collapsing the distance between the top cop and accused. And once that distance collapses, something shifts in the public mind. People don't wait for court anymore. They don't wait for evidence. They respond to what they see. And what they see right now is the National Commissioner in the dock. And apparently he will be, next time, he will be in the dock next to names they already associate with wrongdoing. That's wrong. That does damage, whether you admit it or not. Now watch what happens next. The moment that image is created, political voices will move in. For instance, right now we've seen the Democratic come out and say that he must go immediately. No trial, no full evidence, just remove him. And this is where I need people to think. Would we be hearing this same agency if there was no court appearance? Because Gordon did this interview after the court appearance. If there was no image of him in the dock, if this was all happening quietly behind the scenes, or is this urgency coming from what now people now see? Because if it's the second one, then we're not dealing with justice, we're dealing with perception.
I think he should be placed on precautionary suspension by the president because these are very serious allegations. These are not minor allegations that can easily be swept aside. He is the nation's top police chief. And he's appearing in court not on minor PFMA transgressions, but on allegations of awarding tenders to Vusi Cat MATLALA, hundreds of millions of rands of tenders, after being repeatedly warned that this was a guy that was bad news and that these tenders were a high risk. He went ahead anyway. That is a serious concern. We cannot afford to have question marks over the head of the nation's top police officer and top police chief while he continues to serve in that office while facing these charges. I think that as the law in fact provides for, the SAPS Act provides for the president to place him on precautionary suspension and then to establish a commission headed by a judge into his fitness to hold office. And I think that that is the prudent and wise thing for the president to do now, to remove him on precautionary suspension and set up an inquiry, a board of inquiry into his fitness to hold office.
Now let me be clear about something. I'm on Masemola's side, not because I think he's above the law, but because I can see what is happening around the law. There's a difference. Supporting someone doesn't mean saying they're innocent. It means saying apply the processes properly. Don't rush it. Don't weaponize it. Don't turn it into a spectacle, because once you do that, you're no longer just investigating. You are applying pressure, legal pressure, political pressure, public pressure, all at once. And when those three things combine, the outcome is almost decided in people's minds before the courts even speak. Now let me ask something simple. Is this about accountability? Why does it feel selective? Dear, have you looked properly at what happened at Phala Farm? The dollars in the couch, the allegations that followed, the questions around how law enforcement handled that situation? We didn't see the same energy from you. Did we see the same energy, or did I just miss it? Did we see people being pulled into court, positioned publicly, weakened in the same way, or was it different, quieter, more careful? I'm not even making conclusions there. I'm asking about consistency, because if the system is not consistent, then people stop trusting it. And once trust is gone, everything becomes political. Now come back to this moment, because this is bigger than just one man. If you can weaken the head of the police like this before the court has fully tested the evidence, what stops it from happening again to anyone? All it takes is a case, a headline, the right timing, and suddenly authority disappears. That's not a strong system, that's a fragile one. Now, I know the pushback. What if he's guilty? I feel like this is a desperate attempt from IPID, let's be honest. Because I'm sure prior to this, they looked into his accounts, they looked into his phone, his messages, hoping to try and find a link with MATLALA, and they couldn't find any. All they can do now is tie him to PFMA. That's all they could do, to try and put him in the dock with the criminals, in the dock with people who are accused of attempted murder, accused of allegedly kidnapping people, torture, extortion of money, hijackings, robberies. That's where the top cop is going to stand, next to such a person. I feel like this is a low blow. We should not normalize this kind of behavior, and we should not accept this kind of behavior. Let's just hope that they have concrete evidence that they're going to present, something that links him to MATLALA, some money that he took, messages that he sent back and forth with MATLALA, or a person who was like in between. We need some concrete evidence for him to deserve to stand in the dock with MATLALA and the other cronies. We really need that. Otherwise, we should not tolerate and accept such stunts by the GNU. That is unacceptable. And that is what South Africans need to stand against. They cannot take our heroes and put them next to criminals, people that are fighting hard, people that are trying to expose criminality. They should not do that with them, and we just sit down and keep quiet and accept it as it is. Let's hope for concrete evidence, something more than he did not act on time, he didn't tell his team to act on time, or something stupid or something at that level, because that will be unacceptable. You can't put him in a dock next to MATLALA for that. Let's see what happens. Let's see the evidence that they produce, because if that's all they produce, then it will be unacceptable. I'm Nikiwe. I'll see you in the next one.